So was this an effort to give closure to the victims of 2002 or one at an image makeover? Joining us on the centre stage debate tonight is Madhu Keshwar, editor Manushi. Also with us is spokesperson of the BJP, Meenakshi Lekhi. Javed Anand, General Secretary of Muslims for Secular Democracy, joins us from Mumbai. And with us in the studio is also Headlines Today's National Affairs editor, Javed Ansari. I would like to ask you first, Meenakshi Lekhi, because that's a question that naturally will be flung at you. Why now? Why today, after all these years?
You know, Padmaja, there are a couple of things which I want to brief you on, and that is for the reason because misinformation campaign kind of a thing has been run against Mr. Modi. His first statement, which is available on the YouTube, is on 28th of February 2002, and one can see the kind of restraint, etc. he has told both communities to exercise repeatedly in his interaction. Because from 2002 to 2005, personally he was doing the media briefing and telling media also not to name the communities, not to engage in certain things, because that was the first kind of a riot which got televised.
No, Meenakshi Lekhi, as a matter of fact, I have heard that statement on the 28th of February 2002 where Mr. Modi said that both communities should exercise restraint. But the issue here is different. There was no remorse. There was no apology. It was just...
Ma'am.
Yes, go ahead.
Ma'am, I have two, three things to tell. Now, I have heard that you've played old recording of Mr. Modi's interview with Mr. Prabhu Chawla also, where he has categorically said that you are alleging certain acts of omission and commission against me, that I have done such horrendous acts. For these acts, there cannot be any apology. You must hang a person who does any of these things. So quite clearly, he is very sure that he has not done any of these things. Out of 25 districts, 7 districts of Gujarat got affected. Yet, in spite of the riots before this, today and post 2002, across the country, only these riots are getting scrutinized, where rehabilitation program costed 6,500 crore, unlike any riot where this kind of rehabilitation work has been done.
Okay.
There are constituencies like Katle where 70% Muslim population exists, and they have voted for Mr. Modi. They have voted for the BJP in Gujarat. So people in Gujarat have actually seen the kind of rehabilitation and the kind of work he has done, and the kind of governance he has given, and worked for the rehabilitation of people who got affected.
So Javed Anand, what would you say to that? This is a statement. We've seen this emotional outpouring from Mr. Modi today. We've seen the verdict of the court yesterday, and we've also seen, as Meenakshi Lekhi was saying, how he's worked to improve the lot of Muslims, especially in Gujarat. What more can he possibly do?
Well, I'm sorry I can't hear very well, but to the extent I followed, I'll try and respond. To begin with, Ms. Lekhi has put forward certain facts with some of which I have a problem with. For example, she's talking about 6,500 crores in rehabilitation in 6 years ago. What she has chosen not to talk about is that the 300 crores sent by the NDA government led by Mr. Vajpayee in 2002, more than half of that was returned by Mr. Modi back to the Gujarat, to Delhi, saying this is not necessary. Quite apart from that, let me put an alternate set of facts and let the viewers judge for themselves whether these are match up with the talk about the anguish and grief that Mr. Modi was feeling in 2002. Fact number 1, Mr. Modi seemed to be so anguished personally that he had no time for the anguish of others. He refused to heed to the pleas of tens of thousands of girls and boys, Muslims who were forced into relief camps, 1,65,000 of them, requesting that the annual exams be postponed because they had no position to give those exams. That was not granted. No relief was provided in these camps by the Gujarat government led by Mr. Modi until the High Court directed it to say do so in the middle of April. That is point number 1. Point number 2, Mr. Modi seems to have, in his moment of grief, been still quite capable of distinguishing between Hindu pain and Muslim pain, it would seem. He was quite prompt to go visit Godhra within hours, air dash to Godhra within hours of the tragedy, which he should have done, but he never saw it necessary to
Okay, a
visit
quick
any of the
rebuttal
relief
from
camps
Meenakshi
while the
Lekhi before we
tears
bring in our
of
other
those
guests.
who
Go
were
ahead,
living
Meenakshi.
there. Point number
You know,
three,
Mr.
when Mr.
Anand,
refused
Mr.
to,
Anand is
he
again
also,
not
by the way,
speaking
when
about the
High
fact
Court
that people like
directed
him
relief
and
be provided by the
CJP
Gujarat
went to the
government,
court saying this situation is not normal and we do not want exams to be conducted. It was the High Court which ordered. Not one day the banking operations or these things were ever stopped in Gujarat goes to show that law and order situation was corrected. And this very evidence has been relied upon by the court.
Remember, this is
So Mr. Anand is showing how
You can't stop him. It's a recorded message.
All right, Mr. Javed Anand and Meenakshi Lekhi, just hold on for a minute.